If you ever need to trap a human soul, but you only have the alphabet at your disposal, which letter makes the best psychological cage? First off, definitely not V, because this trap is frankly pathetic. The theory is simple. Lure someone into the center of ideology, then use the sloped sides of society to pin them down. But this structure is inherently unstable. It can't even hold its own ideological weight. Even if you brainwash someone into crawling willingly into the V, the moment their moral center of gravity shifts, the whole thing tips over like a man losing his faith. Now your grand trap is lying sideways in the dirt. The target just walks away, emancipated, a little bewildered by the system, but completely unscathed. You basically just built a highly inconvenient doorway. It looks intimidating, like societal expectations, but its structural integrity is that of a cheap folding chair. Number 9. B. B is a tragic waste of potential. It should be a masterpiece of confinement. Two perfectly isolated compartments, ready to house two lucky victims of the rat race. Its bureaucratic efficiency makes you think it was born to institutionalize people. But look a little closer at the system, and you'll realize the fatal flaw. There is literally no way to get anyone inside. It is entirely closed off, an exclusive club, not a single entry point of vulnerability, completely untouchable. You've engineered a flawless prison that no one can ever enter. If you think about it deeply, that's a profoundly bizarre achievement in isolation. Don't worry, I won't break the rules of our little matrix like I usually do. Today we play the game fairly. Number 8. O. O isn't really a trap, it's the cycle of life, but it serves a much darker, blunter purpose. You suspend it with a heavy chain of consequence, hanging it high above the oblivious masses, say from an ivory tower or a corporate skyscraper. When your target wanders blindly underneath, you let go, swinging it like the wrecking ball of reality. The results are immediate and devastating, but you haven't really trapped them in a system. You've just let a giant existential cipher materialize from the void and absolutely lobotomize them. The reason it ranks so low on our societal tier list is that the risk of collateral fatality is just too gauche. Number 7. J. How does J ensnare the human condition? To me, it looks exactly like the hook of modern capitalism. Tie it to the string of desire and bait it with cheap dopamine. Remember, we are hunting human attention here, so you need to put something relatable on the hook, like processed chicken nuggets or a smartphone endlessly scrolling through meaningless short videos. Then you wait for some poor soul to inevitably succumb to their vices. They lean in, drawn by the algorithmic glow, and right at that moment of weakness, you yank it with all the force of a market crash. In theory, the hook catches them by their very ego, shattering their psychological equilibrium. Looks like meat's back on the menu tonight. But in reality, this requires an absurd amount of leverage. Lifting a fully grown adult out of their comfort zone isn't something you can do with half-hearted effort. But if you actually have the power to pull it off, the results are undeniably effective. You are essentially deep-sea fishing in the wasteland of society. Number 6. W. W is just as lethal as O, perhaps even more insidious. It is the ultimate pit of jagged consequences. Let's set the stage. Imagine someone you harbor a deep, quiet resentment for is walking across the fragile, swaying bridge of their career. Now imagine you've proactively placed this W, this bed of ideological spikes, right beneath them, and you've subtly sabotaged the safety nets of their life, ensuring the inevitable collapse of their reality. The moment they fall onto W, they are impaled by multiple harsh truths. If your actual goal is to keep the target confined, but still breathing and capable of suffering, this is probably not your most refined option. Number 5. S. S forces us to fundamentally redefine what a trap truly is. It looks incredibly inviting, and that is exactly the dark psychology behind its success. Its smooth, voluptuous curves whisper promises of hedonistic joy. People look at it and see the slippery slope of instant gratification. So they eagerly climb to the top, take a seat, and push themselves off into the thrill. What they blindly fail to realize is that this slide funnels directly into the abyss of ruin. By the time they finally achieve self-awareness and realize the destination is utter oblivion, the momentum of their choices has made them powerless to stop. Number 4. T. T is an absolute classic of deception. You've probably seen this systemic rigged game before. You prop it up on a flimsy stick of false promises. Then you tie a string of control to that very support. Next, you place whatever materialistic bait is required to corrupt a person. The very millisecond they step into the kill zone of their ambition, you pull the strings. The support system vanishes into thin air. The T slams down, crushing them under the sudden weight of responsibility. It is an orthodox Tom and Jerry style metaphor for the rat race, and it is devastatingly effective. Number 3. L.
I know exactly what you're thinking. How could such a simple structure rank third in our societal hierarchy? But if you peer through the illusion, you will notice a chilling detail. This L is actually forged from solid ice, orange-flavored artificial sweetness. It is quite literally the world's most colossal popsicle. If you place it somewhere overtly conspicuous, like the metaphorical break room of consumerism waiting to be found, someone will inevitably wander over and decide to take a taste of luxury. And then their tongue, their very voice, freezes to the surface. Now they're hopelessly tethered to your sweet, cold trap. They can try to tear themselves away, but that is a horrifying choice to make. Every attempt at rebellion brings incommensurable, tearing agony. So, unless they happen to carry the warm water of enlightenment, they're going to be stuck there, humiliated for a very long time. They might even swear off the sweet taste of naive trust forever. Number 2, H, or as the system calls it, the weight of history. If you suspend it menacingly from the ceiling of their world and camouflage it as something totally benign, perhaps a piece of absurd modern art, or just the normalized background radiation of society, then you hide a pressure plate of trigger warnings beneath it. The moment someone steps on that cultural landmine, the societal supports completely disengage. The H slams down like the inescapable gavel of fate. The two massive vertical pillars of expectation crash into the earth on either side with cataclysmic force, trapping the individual perfectly in the rigid center. It is swift, brutal, and entirely uncompromising, leaving absolutely no room for individual deviation or escape. The only philosophical dilemma is what to do next, because lifting the crushing weight of systemic oppression isn't easy. But make no mistake, the target is thoroughly institutionalized. And number 1, you proudly claims the crown, because you is the most classic trap of all, the pit of the self. It's just a bit more structurally defined. First, you'd normally fly out to the deepest, darkest jungle of the mind, but to save us from an existential crisis today, I've prepared this metaphorical void in advance. You dig a deep, dark trench on the dirt path of life. You bury the you right in the center of it. Then you use the fallen leaves of their own past to carefully conceal the yawning abyss above. When someone is blindly marching through their daily routine, they fall directly into the